But after everything that's transpired these past couple of days, oof. All right, we're live. Let's tweet the link out. Welcome back to Bash in the Brain. Subscribe if you're not already subscribed. Let's get some people in here.
Let's get some people in.
For a Manic Tuesday.
Bad week for us. Bad week.
Terrible. Where's Bashada? I need Bashada's Willie terrible video. Terrible.
Listen, Yankees got bounced from the playoffs. Penn State lost third straight, fired the coach. Redskins lose on Monday night. Bills lose on Monday night. It's been a bad run.
Terrible. But thankfully today we're going to talk some wrestling, which makes everything okay.
Yeah.
We did get an epic. I'm sorry to say this. We did get an epic Willie rant pre-show that we might get at some point, not today, because there's logistics involved. But some of Willie's best rants are offline. It would behoove you to befriend Willie to get some of these rants off air.
I mean, and Bash instigated it because he knew it sticks in my crawl, and he brought
I just asked you about.
Dug in a little bit more, and there was F-bombs flying around. There was F-bombs. I'll tell you what it's about. I don't give a shit. It's about collegiate duels moving from Rockfin to Flow. Fuck them. Fuck them guys. Fuck them all. There's no loyalty.
Kids show, Willie. Kids show.
It's a bunch. I don't give a shit. It's a bunch of money grab bullshit. But there's no loyalty. I don't give a shit.
So who's number one was this?
All the swear words. All the swear words. You wanted it.
No, I didn't. All right, so who's number one was this weekend? And it was a great show.
You got it.
No, I was simply asking.
Do you know the genesis of collegiate duels? I mean, let's get real. Now they're going over to Flow, who tried to sabotage the event. They tried to sabotage the event for 4 years. I caught myself on an F-bomb right there.
Thank you.
I'll tone it down a bit.
Poor 3-year-old Freddie's probably on his way to pre-K right now, listening to Uncle Willie on the podcast, and he's going to have some choice words as he gets to pre-K.
Tell Freddie to let me know. I'll tone it down for the kids. If they message me personally, I'll be talking to people on the phone and I'll be on speaker and be like, hey, there's kids. But like if they say, hey, there's kids here, I don't care. But if the kid says, hey, you said a bad word, then I feel bad.
Well, I get a lot of parents that DM me that are very appreciative that most of our content is family friendly, and they love it in the car. So, all right.
But it was a good time it's a good week or so for wrestling. We had Who's Number One, Super 32 this week. The previous week saw 37 Division I commitments. This week saw, I think, like 27 or 31 or something like that. Commitments, flips, yada, yada. Really exciting time for recruiting, and that won't stop here with Super 32 coming up. You know, a lot of times it's a perfect storm this October window, and that might change. Because it looks like they're going to change the recruiting rules and the recruiting calendar so that first contact is not until after their junior season. But right now, the way it's been the last few years, first visits, first contacts June 15th, and you see a lot of flurry of activity in September, October after these guys do their visits and go to a football game. And then what happens is a lot of these coaches want to wrap kids up. I can tell you right now, I talk to a lot of people, a lot of programs want to sign kids before they go to Super 32 because then things change, which I think is a double-edged sword, but anyway, it makes for excitement. Did you watch Who's Number One? You watched Who's Number One?
I did. It was great. I watched it poolside in Florida, and it was
Flamingo Room.
We were talking about this before because it's like I was telling you, like I haven't always been the biggest, like I follow college wrestling senior level the most because that's who I've worked with the most, and that's where my fandom really started building. But the high school wrestling, the level in which it's at, is it feels much more like call it pre-college than high school. Like, these kids are so good. The profiles are so big. You know, like, even these kids that aren't, like, obviously there's the Bo Bassins and the Melvin Millers that are always in the news, but I feel like as college wrestling continues to grow, you're getting more eyeballs and more fans, and as media coverage grows, that people are paying attention to who do we want to recruit, who do we want to get here, and who's coming to our school. And so, you know, as I even pay more attention to it, it's like, man, the wrestling is so good, the storylines are so good, and even, you know, speaking to these kids, like they're a bit more like even with interviews, like when I've had some of these high schoolers on, like having Jaden James and Duke, and like these kids are well versed now. It's like high school wrestling is becoming a lot more interesting, and I thought this event was another example of that.
That's I mean, I ain't saying I did it, but that was the premise behind pushing high school wrestling for all these years. The premise of starting who's number one, big boards, rankings, and not just rankings themselves, but in everything that you put out a Super 32 preview or a Fargo preview, attach the ranking next to it. And you know what who's number one did was several things. To start, because, you know, 15, 20 years ago and before that, it was college wrestling, and high school was like, you know, cute and neat, and the only thing people really cared about was like, oh, I heard we had a good recruit coming in from California, right? I mean, that was the extent of knowledge among mainstream wrestling fans. Mainstream wrestling fans were simply college. And when you put who's number one, when you put the elite on a pedestal with who's number one, and you put the context around rankings and this and that, it educated the fans. Mm-hmm. And it got them into it. And by doing recruiting analysis for 20 years and like basically proving that the best high schoolers become the best college guys, and proving that over a long period of time, now it became undeniable. So the college fans that were there, they kind of had to start paying attention to high school because that's their future, right? You look right now as we speak, you look on the Iowa boards, and they're discussing, hey, I really want Ken. Do you want Kenny? Do you want Bachman? You want both? You want Israel Borg? You want this guy? You want that guy? I mean, that didn't happen 15 years ago. They weren't even educated. College wasn't the college scene. The masses weren't even educated on that. And even it goes beyond that, because now it's like people want to go to who's number one, but what goes into that and what goes into the rankings? Well, you have to pay attention to cadet trials. You have to pay attention to Fargo. You have to pay attention to Super 32. Why are they there? Not just who's there, but why are they there? And what was their trajectory to get there? And so it built sort of an ecosystem of fandom. That's the way I see it.
Yeah, no, I'm with you, and I think too the coverage for it, even like I was saying, like, I mean, back when I was in high school, I was terrible. So sometimes if I wasn't in a duel or competing, I was working with helping Tim Herman over at Arm Drag, and back then, like what wrestling media coverage was and like results, it's nothing compared to what it was now. So yeah, who's number one was awesome, man. What do you want to go through the results?
Yeah, let's go through the results. I thought it was a good card. There's a Willie voice coming up too, guys, because you have a hard time listening. And you know, we were discussing off air about like the most recent who's number ones and what the excitement level was, and Bash said something to the extent of, what'd you say? You said it wasn't as exciting. It was good matches, but it wasn't as exciting as I thought. Maybe is that what you said?
Yeah, well, it's like there was there's I think only 2 underdogs. One,
Yeah.
like there was a lot of good wrestling, but there was also a lot of chalk wrestling. There was some fireworks. I thought Antonio Mills, that kid's gonna be so fun, and we can talk about him flipping to Ohio State. But there was a lot of chalk wrestling.
Yeah. I thought it was actually there was a couple cards in the recent past, like I don't know, 2 of the last 3 I thought they didn't materialize.
Yeah.
It wasn't. There wasn't much there, but this one, I don't know. I thought it was great.
Yeah, it was good. High level wrestling.
Zinkin pins Munaretto, and the winner is to get Landon Seiden. And Munaretto gets a takedown, and Zinkin Rockland starts this scramble. We used to call it a tombstone, when you reach back and grab the head, and he gets a stick. Those guys could all run it back. And then Seiden beats Zinkin in the final bout for the number 1 spot pretty handily, 13-4. And those guys are all – that 120 bracket at Super 32 is just freaking amazing. But I think there's reason for excitement at Okie State with Zinkin. He's a very driven kid. And I thought that Seiden – man, I think there were, I don't want to say question marks. I mean, I had him number 1, right? So he's obviously very good. But he's coming off, it was his first match in a long time, like 6 months, 8 months. Number 1. Number 2, he won a lot of close matches. He won Powerade with some close matches, overtime type stuff. He won at Doc B. Nothing prepared me. So, I mean, I know he's good, right? But nothing prepared me for long layoff Landon Seiden coming in there and just he was an offensive machine. What'd you think?
Yeah, and you don't know when somebody doesn't wrestle in 8 to 9 months what's going to happen. Like you said, like you can be rusty, or like a lot of times these guys, when they finally have a layoff, they come off it and they're well rested. They're not banged up anymore. Like, so it was awesome, and I feel like we're kind of spoiled because, like you said, those, especially the top 3 guys at 120, are all at Super 32 this weekend. So it's not even like you got to wait a long time now to see them compete again.
Yeah. I mean, if he was number 1 before, but now he's like number 1 with a bullet.
Yeah.
Is that what that means? I mean, because he
I don't know what number 1 with a bullet means, but
it was a song by like one of those stupid bands. But like he separated himself from everybody. Right now, he gets another test this week. But man, he looks great. Melvin Miller majored Max Dable, and that was one that was like they've wrestled so frequently. Like they wrestled at Fargo, they wrestled at Elite 8 Duels, they wrestled somewhere else. That was one that was kind of spoiled because we've seen that matchup so many times recently. So Melvin over Max Dable, who's uncommitted. Antonio Mills edges Paul Kelly, gets a late takedown. I thought that Mills' technique was very good. Very good.
He's so exciting to watch.
His progression to finishing some of those shots. The one he has a righty. He has a single here, right? And he reaches over and he pulls the elbow and dumps him. And then the second one, he kind of climbed the waist for a takedown on the edge. I thought it was really good. I thought he was a really good mix of, and we saw it in Fargo too about the grittiness, but athleticism, technique, grittiness. You really got to like Antonio Mills, and I wanted to talk about all the commitments that we saw in the past 2 weeks, but we might as well talk about Mills now. Originally, he committed to NC State for about 36 hours, and then he flipped to Missouri. And then there were rumors. There was all kinds of rumors that he was looking around. And then again, right after Who's Number One, I mean, Who's Number One ended, and got a couple calls like, "Hey, Mills is talking to other schools," and I was like, "Huh, that's interesting, but not so interesting because I kind of knew that." But and then he committed like 2 minutes later.
Yeah,
so
night.
And then my initial reaction was, where are they going to fit? But if they go, if Davino moves up, and I don't know if that's the plan, but if Davino moves up, that'll work out real nice with Munaretto, Mills, and Davino. 1, 2, 3, bing, bang, boom. And they got Waters, who was on this card, and they probably, I mean, they're in the driver's seat with Singer. They're in the driver's seat with Nikki Singer. So, Fargo champ. So they could have a great crop in these past 2 years. Cam Howard over Wyatt Medlin. Now here comes the rant, because here comes the voice, because you guys are not sharp. Because I saw on Twitter last week I said by process, I don't know how they selected Cam Howard. I said the same thing about Jaden James last year, because he lost to Kyler Knack, right? And I said, by no stretch did I think that Jaden James couldn't win the bracket at Who's Number One. And by no stretch am I saying Cam Howard can't win this year at Who's Number One. And still, you guys on Twitter, bro, you see Willie said Cam Howard can't win this, and then Cam Howard won it, bro. Dude, Willie. That's not what I said, you Pop-Tart.
You blooming idiot.
Get your shit straight. Sorry, kids. But I was really impressed with Cam Howard. I mean, he was a dog. I don't use that term lightly because I think it's overused. But he was relentless. He did not give any safe harbor to Medlin. He moved forward, didn't stop attacking. I thought it was a great performance by a guy that, frankly, we needed to learn more about. Because, and just like Seiden, too, I mean, don't get it twisted. You know, Seiden's number one in the country. But Seiden got beat 13-4 last year. 1 year ago. 1 year ago today, this week, Seiden got beat 13-4 by Christian Castillo at Super 32. And then defaulted out of Super 32. Okay? So then he goes on and he does what he does. He beats Bachman. He beats Zinkin. I think he beat Kenny. And now it's like, then he gets hurt and doesn't wrestle at the end of the season. And now it's like, oh, Landon Seiden, next level, number one. He's can't miss. Well, whoa. Because 6 months ago, he got majored by Christian Castillo. Okay? Now we have more data. Yeah, he's that dude. Same thing with Cam Howard. Cam Howard went second or third at Fargo. I forget what he did last year at Super 32. But then he didn't place. If he was there, he didn't place. I don't even know if he wrestled there. But then this year at Vegas, he didn't place. And that's what I was saying about the process. Name me a guy that made Who's Number One that was ranked. Name me a guy that was ranked top 2 in the nation. Name me a guy that was ranked top 2 in high school that is second to last tournament, he did not place. In cadets, where half the country can't even go. All right? Now, that is not to poo-poo Cam Howard. That is, again, just about the process. I knew Cam Howard was good. Look where I had him on the big board for 3 years. Like high on the big board. I'm being super critical because that's what you do with high level recruits. But he didn't place at Vegas. He won Fargo. We need to see more of him. And we need to see more of him against not cadets. Right? Because he won Fargo cadets. And then he beats Medlin, who was in the finals of juniors. Okay, now we can say Cam Howard has arrived. And he looked great, man. He looked great. I think he's a dog. I think, I talked to KD a little bit because, of course, KD right after he won. I mean, right after he won.
KD don't miss. He doesn't miss.
Like he's getting his hand raised right after. And KD texted me the kiss emoji. So, but I talked to him. I said, well, what do you think? What do you think weight-wise? And he said big. He said Cam Howard's going to get big. So
stock up KD Training Center all year. It's been a great year for the KD Training Center.
Waters beat Hodgins 4-2. I thought Waters looked really good. And, there were murmurs that Waters was decommitting looking. I don't know. I heard that from several places, but that doesn't appear to be. If that was true at any point, it doesn't seem to be true now because he was doing the Ohio State side, and he's been spending a lot of time out there, him and Singer. Araya Mills over Turner Ross, 11-1. I was telling somebody this. You guys in the chat, first of all, let me get to the chat. See what's going on in here.
Well, Russell Madness can die a happy man because you did the voice today.
There you go. Hey, I tweeted that the arena at Coralville, it looked great. It was the setup for Who's Number One was great.
Yeah, it looked awesome.
I couldn't tell what the attendance was like because it was dark in there, but it looked like there was a decent crowd. Nick Costco says chalk. Jay Bell says I think that's a Katy Perry song. No, it's Fall Out Boy. Number One with a Bullet is a Fall Out Boy. What else is going on? Is Howard a big Penn State lean? Almost everybody at KD that's ranked top 2 goes to Penn State at this point. You have Sonny Amato ranked super high, and he didn't place at Vegas. I don't think that Sonny Amato was in Vegas. I don't think that Sonny Amato is cadet eligible. What are you talking about? Christian B keeps asking what's up with TJ Stiller. He wasn't academically eligible. His grades were bad. It's like the worst secret in college wrestling. Why did the announcer lady look miserable next to Bader? Probably because she was next to Bader. I'm just kidding. Was their attendance is not high? Couldn't tell. Is Robbie Howard done? I think his brain might be done. I don't know. Have you seen his posts?
I thought he graduated. I thought he was done.
Yeah, didn't place at U20s. Bonehead. They're like all like, who'd he lose to? College kids? Cam Howard didn't place in cadets, bro.
Bashada says we need to come up with a new term for commitment. I got a lot of comments about that this weekend when I put that.
Hey, all right, back to the card. I just wanted to make it sure because I don't want to like have 5,000 questions at once. I'll do them in chunks. But Araya Mills, you guys are gonna think I'm nuts. And I understand it's 106. And I understand he's wrestling mostly sophomores. And, well, Turner Ross is going to be a junior. I think Orion Mills might be the most pound for pound and best kid in the country. And I don't just mean like wrestling. I think he is the most skilled. I think Orion Mills might be the most skilled wrestler in high school in all facets.
That says a lot.
Let me look at 2028 big board. Let me look at 2020. Who do I have number one? Actually, it's 2029, right?
Yeah.
Orion Mills is just a freshman. So 2029, I have him one. I've had him one for a while. I didn't even really remember that, but yeah, he's that dude's different, man.
How far in advance do you do the big board? Do you have the class of 2038 done yet? Where's Freddie?
No, I just I do them as freshmen. Nah, I have a junior high big board. So it's not done yet though, but I do junior high big board. No, you know what? I stopped doing junior high big board. And I just do class rank. I just do weight rankings. So I start when they're freshmen now. I don't know. I couldn't be more impressed with Ryan Mills. But you know what? It has nothing to do with the match. But a lot of these dudes are going to go up to 13. Bill Bassett told me Keegan's going up. I think Araya might be going up. I think Turner Ross might be going up. I think they're all going up. The top guys at 6. Nikki Singer beat Joey Jeter 12-5, and it's back-to-back great performances by him. I thought that I mentioned in the show previously that first time I got eyes on Nikki Singer, he jumped off the page at me. I'm like, who is that dude? And I had him ranked in junior high, but I never put a face to a name. And so he comes in freshman year, and it was the first match of the season. And I'm like, damn, that dude's good. And it took him a while. I mean, he placed everywhere, but then Fargo this year, he balled out. Comes back with another great performance. Who's number one? And word on the street is that Jason Singer, his brother, is committed to Lehigh. He seemed like a Lehigh lean. And both Jason and Nikki visited Nebraska a couple of weeks ago, but it really seems like he's a hard Ohio State lean right now. He's spending time out there. And, if you didn't see my tweet, we'll get into it. But and again, there could be a Willie voice coming because you guys are going to misinterpret the shit. You hang on every word I say, and then most of the time misinterpret it. But I said, and when I tweeted something about shady offers, and I don't mean they're illegal. I mean, I don't know how that works. I don't know that they're legal. I don't know they're not. But explain to me how that works. Anyway, I was told that you're allowed to pay people to come train at your RTC now, which sounds way over the line to me. If that is legal, that should not be legal. If that is legal, that should not be legal. Could you imagine, like, Alabama saying to a high school junior, like, "Hey, why don't you come? We'll work on your route running. Also, we'll pay you." What are we doing?
Yeah, it's going to be a slippery slope if that's very slippery slope.
But I was told that people are getting paid to train at RTCs as high schoolers. DeCraker over Wolber, not too surprising there, 1-2. DeCraker now at Lake Highland, committed to Ohio State, flipped to Minnesota. You know what? We're talking a lot about Ohio State today. Slim Life, you're.
Slime Life is buried in the rankings today.
He's also full of terrible takes. Don Wilson won Fargo last year in freestyle. He was first or second. He was a finalist for sure, 100%. Talking a lot about Ohio State today, and good, all good stuff. They're recruiting really well. But one thing that's interesting that what might get lost. Wow, you got Mills. Wow, you got Munaretto. That might mean that Davino's moving up. One thing lost in that, maybe, and you got to consider it, Gray Burnett. What does that mean for Gray Burnett? Does that mean that Ohio State now has their 33-pounder? Does that mean that Gray Burnett's less of a priority? Maybe he's not. But I'm just saying, Gray Burnett's an elite recruit, one of the top guys in 2027 from Ohio, huge Buckeye fan. And how does he play in the mix? Just wanted to bring that point up. Jaden Rainey over Moses Mendoza by fall looked great. It just really overwhelmed Moses Mendoza, who has been awesome the last 9 months. I've been singing Moses Mendoza's.
Yeah, that's a tongue twister.
I've been singing his praises for last couple months, and Jaden Rainey just overwhelmed them. Kobe Merrill against Michael Mako was sort of a snoozer. Merrill had a lot of weight on Mako, and he was forward. And Mako just couldn't really stay in center too well. 4-1, Kobe Merrill. And then the last bout, Bassett against Jaden Rainey, 0-0, 30 seconds in. Jaden tweaked an ankle. Jordan tweaked an ankle and had to default. I'm as bummed as I was for the match. Frankly, that's the match I wanted to see the most.
Yeah, everybody. It's a 1-versus-1. Yeah,
but bummed that we didn't get to see it. Bummed for Flo that their main event went down, but thankful that it sounds like it's not like a torn Achilles or
it's a high ankle sprain, so he should only be out 4 to 6 weeks. And in the grand scheme of things, he was in tears after the match. You could tell how much this meant to him, and it looked worse. Not that you never want to see anybody out for a month and a half, but it looked so much worse. His reaction was I'm out for another 8 months, or so it was when I think either Flo or Pyle, somebody put out high ankle sprain. It's well, that's a sigh of relief. Could be so much worse.
Yeah. So that was who's number one, and it sort of sets up Super 32. I really like that there's so many. It used to be, well, they've been doing it for a while now, but there was a point in time where it was they'll either do who's number one or Super 32, and now it's they'll do both, which is great to see.
I couldn't believe I was looking at your seeds for Super 32, and I was looking at them right after reviewing the results again from who's number one, and you're coming right off of watching who's number one, and the number of guys I'm oh wow, he just competed at who's number one. Oh, wow, they just competed. Who's number one? Going through all weights, I'm man, I cannot believe how many guys are running it right back right after.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. Because, it's one thing to win one match. And it's not technically winning one match. I mean, you got the invite to who's number one by winning a ton of matches.
Right.
But it is different for Landon Seiden to beat Rockland Zinkin than it is to see him in a progress. There's been a lot of guys throughout high school history where I'd pick him any given match, but to have to go through the gauntlet, I don't know if he's up for that task. I don't know if he's built that way. Sure. And so it is great. And you know what? it's hat tip to the kids because they're not afraid to lose. You know, it's part of their growth. So it's great. No, Mongo, you did not miss Shady talk. And it's a good segue. It's a good segue between who's number one, Super 32, recruiting talk. Bash wants to talk about Sonny Amato and a couple other guys. But here's when I tweeted recruits, flips, Shady offers. Again, let me be abundantly clear. I'm not stirring the pot here. It's not clickbait. There is a very interesting situation going on in college wrestling recruiting that I do not understand. And that is, we're all aware that the rules are ever changing, right? So I can't fault anybody for not being up on them, including myself. I had constantly learning new things, which is why I'm not going harder on this topic than I am right now, because I don't know. I'm not, again, when I say shady, I'm not saying illegal. I'm saying I don't understand it, and it doesn't pass the sniff test to me. But the rules are changing. However, we're all aware that this Deloitte thing, and it's a clearinghouse that approves NIL deals. And now it's called NIL Go. It's Deloitte's clearinghouse that says if this business wants to pay me $1,000 to tweet, go eat at Justin's House of Ribs. Go eat at Justin's House of Ribs. Best ribs in the Rochester area.
Easily.
Okay? And I'm a college athlete and Justin wants to pay me to promote his thing, then Justin, a business owner, has to have a contract drawn up, submit it to, and I'm being honest here, when I'm being 100% honest when I say $1,000. Justin's going to pay me $1,000 to tweet and promote his rib restaurant. Anything over $599 has to be approved by NIL Go. So Justin wants to pay me $1,000. Contract has to be drawn up. It has to be from that business. It has to be submitted to NIL Go. All the terms need to be there. And then they will say yes or no. They might say, listen, Willie has 3 followers. Willie, his college record is 7-12. He doesn't deserve. His value is not $1,000 for one simple tweet. Or they'll say, Willie's a returning All-American. He's popular in the Rochester area. He has 30,000 followers, and $1,000 sounds right to me. Stamp it. Willie sends a tweet. Justin sends a check. Send that check, Bash. Justin's House of Ribs.
Yeah, this sounds great. I think I'm going to end the podcast and go do that.
Okay. So that's how NIL goes now. That's how you get your money. That's what NIL deals are. NIL deals are no longer Bob Nichols writes a check to the Hawkeye Collective, and the Hawkeye Collective pays Sonny Amato. That's not how it works anymore. You can't do that. And I'm not saying that Bob Nichols in Iowa are still doing that. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, what I know for a fact is, these schools are still offering 6 figures. These schools are still saying, we'll beat any other offers. How are you saying that? How can you guarantee these wrestlers money when you don't know if those deals are going to be approved? How can you say Bo Bassett will give you X? How can you say that? Inform me. Inform me how that can be legal.
Legal and how it can happen are two different things. Because
It's 100%. 100%.
a bag of cash at grandma's house, a job for Aunt Susie, here's a car you don't got to pay for. Like there's shady and illegal ways to do it, but you're spot on as far as like, and by the way,
that's why I termed it shady. Number one, I don't know. Maybe there is a thing. Now there is rev share, right? There is rev share. I don't know how that plays into it, but yeah, I don't know. I'm telling
it's
you,
also
there's still 6-figure deals being offered, and I mean, frankly, it's still coming from big money donors. I'll tell you that straight up.
Yeah, and I think too, Devin in the chat saying, could Justin's restaurant have a series of one-time, say, 3 per week deals for $598 to approve the threshold? No, the concept is, even if it was 10 payments of $600, the deal's worth $6,000 for the year, and then the payments are dispersed. However, it's not like
that's what I said too. Like, if everything $599, if all $599 do not have to get vetted, what is stopping Bob Nichols or I keep using Bob Nichols because he's like, I'm not throwing Bob Nichols under the bus. I like Bob Nichols. I talk to him fairly regularly, but he's like the one mega donor that deals with athletes that we know and we talk about. So I use him. And frankly, he's okay with it. But maybe I shouldn't use Bob. Maybe it'd be better if I said Donor X. But what's stopping Donor X from sending the athlete $1,599 payments?
Yeah, I'm wondering if it's, usually when it's $599 or more, there's usually tax implications. You don't got to report earnings under $600 to the IRS. Like usually $600 a term or an amount that's thrown out with the IRS. But the other thing not to lose here when you're talking about, and we've been talking about this for a year now, when it comes to Deloitte and a clearinghouse, the bar is going to be set around the big sports, football and basketball. So if a football player, where football gets all the money, all the revenue, all the love, all the attention, and their safety gets X, or their corner gets X, and now they're saying, okay, wrestling's so much smaller, the attention's so much smaller, you're telling me you want to give this guy who's not even a returning All-American X? Like, it's going to create so much problems trying to have a third-party clearinghouse that's using all of collegiate sports as that's the bar. It's going to get so tricky. They're going to have to find shady ways if they're going to do it.
And obviously, again, like, who polices it? I don't know. I mean, they came out, I read an article that they were really, like, stressing, if you break these rules, you will lose eligibility. The wrestler will lose eligibility. If you break these rules, we will give your college a scholarship reduction. You will face monetary penalties. And okay, that's good. They should. If you break the rules, you should face penalties. Well, who's policing it?
Yeah, and we've yet to see one in wrestling. There hasn't been one single penalty or violation, nothing. And for the amount of shady stuff that gets said that's happening in wrestling, like the fact that there hasn't been a single penalty, a single fine, a single nothing, it's like,
right?
It's kind of hard to believe.
Now, one thing I wonder is, like, and again, There could be a very clear way to make it work that I am unaware of. It doesn't. I don't get it. It doesn't seem kosher to me. But maybe I'm missing something. Feel free to inform. Well, one thing I worry about is School X offering athlete X $100,000 to come, and then that wrestler was down between two schools, right? One school that offered him, I don't know, 20,000, and a school that offered him 150, right? And he thought, maybe I'll go to this one, maybe I'll go to that one. 150 sounds a whole lot better. And he gets on campus and he goes, "Where's my 150?" And they go, "Well, it didn't pass a clearinghouse. Didn't pass. Deloitte said no. They said they'd give you 20." And then he's like, "What the? What can you do?"
Yeah. I wonder if you can take that and simply divide it amongst a number of deals. So maybe Bob Nichols can only give X, but maybe now donor X can give Y. So maybe Justin's House of Ribs gives 1,000, and then Bash Solutions gives 1,000, and then Baschamania gives 1,000, and then you know what I mean? Like, depending on what the threshold is it total value? Are they going to set a kid's cap as to what he can do, or is it each deal is worth $20,000? Then maybe you can get 5 deals to get to the 100.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. They all have to be vetted. They all have to go through NIL.
I understand. What I'm saying is, let's say you're saying the collective determined this kid's only worth $20,000. Justin's House of Ribs can only give $20,000. But if his value is $20,000, that means his value is not capped at $20,000. His value is potentially $20,000 to Willie, $20,000 to Justin's House of Ribs, $20,000 here, $20,000 there.
Here's the point. That's all fine, but that doesn't happen until they're on campus.
I understand.
And they're making the promises to the class of 2027s.
Yeah.
That's the whole point. How can you make financial promises to 2027s when those deals can't be approved until they're on campus?
Yeah, in case Willie or I haven't said that, that's part of this problem, is that those deals in the clearinghouse doesn't happen right when they commit. It happens a potentially year or 2 years later. So that's part of the issue, is that it's delayed. It's not, hey, we're going to sign Sonny Amato, and this is what we want to give him. It's Sonny Amato commits, and now in 2 years, he gets to Iowa's campus, and, well, yeah, he's not worth X, he's worth Y. That's part of the problem.
Right. Okay, what else?
Well,
I think it's an interesting wrinkle, and it's a story that every kid, I mean, I'm getting told this 4 times a week. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They offered this. They offered that. This school said this. This school said that. I'm like, how are they doing this?
We need to get clarity. We need to look for clarity. That's what we do. Let's put the big J hat on.
I'm seeding 5th graders, bro.
Hey, I asked you about the class of 2038.
I ain't chasing down NIL laws that are going to change next tomorrow.
Yeah, so we talked Super 32 for 30 seconds, and then we talked 15 minutes about shady business and college recruiting. Do you want to talk more Super 32? Do you want to talk more commitments?
I am so deep in Super 32. Like, that's all I've done for 2 weeks from all angles. It's really deep. I mean, I don't even know where you want to start. But
you want maybe a couple of some of the biggest storylines to look for?
I'll tell you what I'm going to do. Like, now that the seating's basically done, I'm going to like really decompress and have so the seeds I have fun doing, but they're like they're a chore, they're a heavy lift, right?
Yeah.
But now that that's kind of done, I can have some fun with it. I was thinking about doing a bunch of previews, but that's like it really is good information. I mean, the preview is really good information. Who's there, who's not. But you also kind of get that with the seeds, the way I do it. But I'm gonna have was wrong.
What is happening right now?
What do you,
Either my internet is kicking out or your internet's kicking out. One of our internets are kicking out.
I think it's fine. Let me log back in.
All right. I mean, yeah. My internet seems to be fine this time. Log out, log back in. Let's see. Bashada says, watch the movie Blue Chips. That's what it's all about. That movie is from I think I was 7 or 8 when that movie came out. I remember seeing that movie a long time ago. I'm going to have to see it again. All right. He's back.
It was mine this time.
Yeah, Larry Steele says Willie sounds like an Atari from the 80s. That's exactly how it sounded.
Oh, really?
Like.
Yeah.
So what were you saying you were going to do about Super 32?
Oh, I'm going to have some fun. And I was watching Colin Cowherd, and he has these different segments, like Monday's headlines today and where Colin was right, whereas Colin was wrong. But I'm going to do an article. I'm going to do an article that I enjoy now that all the seeds are done. And I'm going to do who's going to break out. Who's the new faces that you'll know Monday, but you don't know today? And just different things.
We'll do that. Let's do a show on that Thursday or Friday.
Yeah, okay. Thursday I fly. Friday I'm available all day. Let's do it.
All right, so we'll wait for Willie to do some articles on Super 32, and then we'll do another show. All right, do you want to talk? You had a great article out, again, rockfin.com/MadScouts, when I reference Willie's content. You had an article this week in recruiting, which I thought is very informative. I tweeted it out everywhere, so if you follow me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and I put it out everywhere. But maybe let's go through this past week. Obviously, we already talked Antonio Mills flipping to Ohio State. Another big one had happened just after last week. I ended the show on Wednesday, or whenever we did a show, saying Sonny Amato's committing soon. And then come Thursday, he put it out. So Sonny Amato to the Hawkeyes. And that's a big one. I think, Oklahoma State and Ohio State now and Penn State have gotten a lot of these top ones. Obviously, Bassett and Melvin to Virginia Tech. And here the Hawkeyes get a good one. And Sonny Amato, what did you make of that?
Yeah. He's a weight of need. I think it's a good fit. I think it's a good fit for Sonny. Yeah, I don't know. I got the impression early on that he listed some not marquee programs in his initial list, but I got the impression he was going to go to a big name school. But I think it makes a lot of sense. I think Sonny's going to love it there. I think Sonny will mesh with the brand's coaching style well. And I think he's going to pair. Listen, I think they're going to get I think I was going to get a couple guys in that weight range in the next year or two, like 27s, where they really have a good incoming class and around the same weight range. So they're going to have training partners. So I think it's a great fit for Sonny.
Yeah. All right, why don't you give us the rest of your rundown for the commitments this past week, the big ones.
Alex Taylor, our double world teamer from Ohio this year, cadet world teamer. He won Greco and freestyle in Vegas. Also won cadets in Fargo the previous summer. He flipped from Arizona State to Oklahoma. Now, he told me that he told me that because he's tight with Eric Thompson, the assistant and the heavyweight coach at Arizona State. In fact, when we were in Greece, his praise of Eric Thompson was effusive. So I was surprised he called me, but that was to me what he told me was more about academics. Caleb Ybarra, a kid I really like from Colorado, a couple times state champ, preseason nationals runner-up, commits to Cal Baptist. Cal Baptist is they have Eric Morrill out there now, who's really doing a great job. Really doing a great job recruiting. They get for Cal Baptist resume, they do a really good job recruiting big boarders. Titus Norman, Brandon Warwick. Titus Norman to West Point, Brandon Warwick to West Virginia. West Virginia also picking up Dom Way, and they got a couple young guys. One guy you got to watch out for this weekend from West Virginia is Max Fortier. He won NHSCA's both as a freshman and sophomore. He's going into his junior year. It's a really tough bracket. I think it could go a bunch of different ways. And if Fortier loses in the blood round, I'm not surprised. But if Fortier messes around and makes the final, I'm also not surprised. I think it's a big weekend for him. And I think he's from West Virginia. I think Tim Flynn's clearly in the mix there. That was 2026. It's 27. Sonny Amato, Landon Seiden. Seiden, another one. He had a long list of schools, but really you knew it was probably a blue blood. And it's a really great get for Penn State. He looked wonderful at who's number one. And, it's tricky. 25s are tricky. In a perfect world, he stays at 25. If you can tell me ahead of time that the kid's a career 25, it's like Christmas morning because you can't find him. So in a perfect world, he stays 25, but who knows? 25, 33. Here's a big one. Jimmy Masney committed to Iowa State, and that came out of left field to me because I had just talked to his dad. And I even said, how's it going on the recruiting trail? And he's like, yeah, it's going good. And 2 days later, he committed to Iowa State. He's a beast. I always say the junior high rankings, they oftentimes, there's a reason I can like to do them because he was a beast in junior high. He came right into high school, state champ as a freshman, state champ as a sophomore. He was only blood round at Fargo this year, but he's much better than that. And he went to Elite Eight duels and beat four of the top 10, including Ryder Wilder and a bunch of other guys. Good for them. Rutgers picked up two. Masney's going to pair with Merrill at the back end there, 97 heavyweight. That's the
big 1-2 punch.
Yep. Rutgers picked up two good guys, both from Malvern Prep. Lucas Zalata, a heavyweight that most of his you didn't hear heck of a lot about him because he's young, and he missed almost his entire sophomore year. So it really was, how much do you get? How much data can you garner from a freshman 175 pounder? Because that's basically, he wrestled freshman 175, placed at national preps, and then sophomore year moved up to heavyweight and had a good Ironman. So first week of the season had a good Ironman, then got hurt. So there's not much data on him, but his progression I really liked. I mean, I liked it so much that I had him ranked 31 in the class despite missing the postseason as a sophomore. But anyway you slice it, he's a good, whether you say Willie or nuts, he should be 75th. Whatever the case may be, he's an interesting heavyweight prospect. And they also got his teammate Justin Farnsworth, who may be a career 25 pounder, Fargo champ last year, Fargo runner-up this year, cadet and then junior. Love Justin Farnworth. Mikey Batista, who was he was national prep fourth as a freshman, national prep runner-up this year, and then third at Vegas. I think his only loss was to either Hayden Schwab or Gray Burnett. No, Gray Burnett was the next weight. Hayden Schwab or Sammy Sanchez. Took third there. He goes to Maryland, so good pickup for Maryland. Maryland also, since I put this article out, picked up a couple other guys, a couple flips. Michael Boyle. Now, I had Michael Boyle 47 on my junior big board, and really his ranking fluctuated a lot because it was Tommy Rollins. If you remember, Tommy Rollins, a great heavyweight for Ohio State. He put me on him. He's like, Willie, you got to watch out for this Michael Boyle kid. He's a beast, right? And that was a couple years ago. And then I think he was like a freshman state runner-up. Okay, I'm watching him. And I rank him really high because he looked great. And a freshman upper weight. He might have been state champ. It was like a 165-pounder, first or second. Then this year he moves all the way up 190 or 215, wins it. But then he lost somewhere along the way. So I had him real high. And then he lost somewhere along the way, and I was like, maybe I'm too high on the kid. And I put him, last update was 47. That's pre-Fargo. And then he just had a great Fargo. Great Fargo. Beat the tar out of everybody until the finals. He lost to Ziola. Ziola, a senior, a graduating senior, Boyle with 2 more years left. So Ohio State gets a really great young heavyweight prospect. And that's basically the week that was in high school recruiting. A lot of other ranked guys, but that was the gist of it.
Hey, I got a kind of a funny. Did you see that Nelson Brands quote tweeted an account that's talking about the NCAA approved a rule allowing college athletes and staff to bet on professional sports?
No, that's classic.
I saw the tweet. Like, I saw people talking about it, and I know anytime I see like college and gambling stuff that, the kids who got in trouble in Iowa State, like they're pretty vocal with poking at it. That was another quick tidbit. Nick Mitchell stepping down at Grandview after leading the helm for 17 seasons, an incredible coach, and he's going kind of on a trend we've seen. He's taken a position outside of wrestling.
Yeah, really interesting. And, the guys like Nick Mitchell and the guys that have been at Clackamas in northern Iowa and they do a great service. They do a great service to a lot of people because it's not – they're great coaches of wrestling, right? But, man, they change a lot of people's lives for the better. And so that's my –
yeah, Eric Thompson reached out right away. Eric Thompson was like, you got to have him on the podcast. He's an awesome guy. He's an awesome motivator. So maybe we'll get him on the show.
Dude.
But
Eric Thompson, there's a great story. I had Eric Thompson ranked number 1 in the country. He was an enormous recruit. And things didn't work out D1. He went to Grandview, had a great career, had good senior level wins. Nick Mitchell does a lot of good stuff.
Yeah. You want to talk some RAF, or you want to save that for the Super 32 show later in the week?
They added Starachi. They added
Starachi,
Nico,
Nate Jackson, and Megalutis Financial.
Megalutis Financial. I kind of teased that out last show, but I love Nico. And I love having him on the card and getting to wrestle back at Penn State. That's fun.
Yeah, especially when so many, like U23s are that same weekend. RAF's in 2 weeks. And so it's cool to get a couple Penn State grads on the card. It did since our last show you and I did have Eric Bischoff on Thursday, and that was a awesome conversation. I mean, Bischoff, especially growing up, like we were talking about, like growing up Monday Night Wars, and to get Bischoff's perspective on taking freestyle wrestling and making it professional, and his take on it, especially when like he wrestled when he was young, but he hasn't been like a diehard like, you know, so many. So it was cool to get his kind of quote unquote outsider perspective coming like back into it. So that's a great show. If you didn't listen to that Eric Bischoff interview is out everywhere now. Listen to that.
Yeah.
Can't believe RAF 2 is already in 2 weeks. Less than 2 weeks. It's
listen,
next Saturday.
We got the next. So I got a busy coming up. Super 32, and then right after that, RAF. Then I'm going to Nebraska Army at Nebraska. I think that's November 7th ish. And I'm taking a bus. I'm going with the Nebraska team bus down to National Duels. I'm gonna be busy. But on the RAF front, we got cards and cities lined up. Like the next November and December are already done. So I'll be looking for news for that, dates and locations, but really excited about the next 2 cards as well.
That's awesome. All right, any final thoughts, rants, or nuggets?
Here's a nugget. I just made it through the whole show with no chew, 0 chew.
Kid show, family-friendly kid show.
I did start off with a bunch of F-bombs, though, so that, I don't know.
Yeah, we got to try. Maybe we can just edit those out. You know, kids just 2 minutes in. Go Bills. All right.
We're running back Friday?
Thursday or Friday, yeah. 1 Super 32, Saturday, Sunday?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I got a whole lot of waiting around, because what happens at Super 32 is, I don't know what time weigh-ins ends, like 8, 9, 10. I don't know. I don't know what time weigh-ins ends. But when weigh-ins ends, then I have to go through. I sit with the tournament thing, and we go through everybody that missed weight, changed weights, didn't show up, what have you, and adjust the seeds. So it's like, but I'm like waiting around all day Friday for 10 o'clock, basically.
Hurry up and wait.
Yeah. So I got time for a show.
All right. Go Bills.
All right, buddy.
That's a show.
Go Bills.
See ya.